Death Star will soon be in firing range of Yavin Base. Destroy the large deflection towers on the surface, and the TIE fighters defending the approach to the...
All right, good morning, afternoon, and or evening to everyone. I'm Dayman, and I'm going to be running Star Wars Rogue Squadron 2 Rogue Leader for the Nintendo GameCube, launch title here in North America, and my personal favorite speedrun to show off at events like this. We'll be doing the 90% standard ship no upgrade category, which is our standard category, just going through without collecting or using any of the upgrades. Basically, if you imagine a brand new file, it's going to be that, but we play from a completed file so we don't have to contend with the cutscenes. We'll have more time to talk about that later, and we'll just go ahead and get started in 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, that's... well... I finger slipped off the L button. We're already taking a massive time loss. So, you know, you skip the hanger by holding L and R, but I'm doing my own splits, which means I gotta hold L and R and press A while also pressing the split button on my keyboard, and that didn't pan out. Anyway, so we're starting right here at New Hope, and if you've seen me do any of these runs before, hopefully I can show off at least a couple of new strategies that you haven't seen, because we've had a few developments in the past year, in order to make some of these levels a little bit more faster, a little bit more consistent. And I'm always trying to make some improvements my own self. The main project I've had for this year for this game, even though I haven't done a ton of speedrunning, has been to make Cofless a little bit better. So what has always been the dreaded run that we've all encountered, this has been a lot more manageable for us in more recent times.
Squad leaders, we've picked up a new group.
So, for anyone who's played these games, you'll know that the TIE shooting is a huge, huge element of these levels, and there's a leader in every group, and you always want to shoot the leader last, because if you shoot the leader and there's still enemies left in that particular group, they scramble, and then that just makes these levels pretty inconsistent overall. But if you shoot the leader last, this game is tremendously consistent. It's one of the reasons why I love it as a speed game so much. You know, we've got some really repeatable patterns and stability, and I think I missed a tie. I did miss a tie. Where'd he go? Oh, there he is. But that's okay.
Nice shot.
We'll make do.
Get ready for your attack run. Hey, Switch, let's close it up.
So now I head down the trench. You'll notice I took a death earlier, and that's because I want more torpedoes. And I want more torpedoes because I need at least one in order to win the level. But I don't want to bank on a single torpedo, because if I miss, then we're in a lot of trouble. So this is a fairly straightforward section. The game is fun in the way that it bookends the two precise flying levels at the beginning and the end of the game, with blowing up the respective first and second Death Stars. It's a lot of fun. I do wish there was a little bit more precise flying in this game overall, but you take what you can get. There's a lot of fun to be had, even though this game doesn't have that many levels in it. Right? Even including the bonus stages, there's only 15. We only play 10 for the story. But, I mean, God knows I've got my money's worth out of this game. Got it at release back in 2001 as a Christmas present, and I've been playing it on and off ever since. Feel very glad to have contributed to what we use today for all of our speedrun strategies. So just a little bobbing and weaving here. Try not to get shot too much. Sometimes you do get shot too much, and that's unfortunate. But once you get to a certain point, you can use one of first of many audio cues. I'll be listening for where the music changes here, and then I know when to shoot my torpedo.
You're all clear, kid. Now let's blow this thing and go home.
So I believe that the second and third of those should be right in the right spot. You have to hit low enough on the trench that it goes in, but if you get too low, you hit the ground and it doesn't count. If you hit from too far away, they fizzle out before they can actually go. So, let's see. You know, 333, considering I went to the hangar and missed a tie, it's pretty good. Alright, Ison. Ison, not bad. Ison is a level that I think is maybe the most pure, in the sense that all you do is shoot ties. So I really like this one. I'm going to be using a lot of audio cues here.
Enemy fighters approaching from all directions. We're surrounded. I copy, Wedge.
Listen for that gap in the voice lines. You know what?
Go after those ties.
You get them, boys.
You got it, Luke.
Actually send them after those ties, even if I don't miss them, because they're actually really bad. I don't know if you've ever played this game, you're probably well aware of the fact that your wingmen are terrible. And believe it or not, it is in your best interest to send your wingmen after the ties so that they're less likely to shoot the ties. And then I'll have them form up here in case I need to send them and do a little bit of cleanup work for me. Again, always shooting the leaders last. I already know what the leaders are.
Good
So,
job,
it's pretty
guys.
good. So never beat the final level escaping the Death Star. Falcon is horrible. True. That is an absolutely miserable experience, whether you're doing it as a bonus in this game or as a requirement in Rogue Squadron 3. Truly awful.
Go after those ties. You got it, Luke.
So I always jokingly say that I have to actually use the Force during this level, and I shot the leader like an idiot. Oh no. Truly dreadful. Because you can't really see all that well. But we'll make it do. We'll make do. Free left. Oh boy. Awful. Well, it's a very pattern-based thing. Looks like one of your eyes on corridors. Yeah, I pride myself on being generally pretty good at that level. Unfortunately, not great. Talk about the tight braking turn. Oh yeah. So if you are holding your brake all the way and then jam the accelerator all the way, you actually can turn tighter. I do it all the time in this run. That's a pretty important feature. They tell you that in the manual, but not the tutorial. So that's an interesting one.
Awaiting your orders.
Attack those ATSTs.
We copy, Luke. We're going after the walkers.
Rogue Squadron, how can we help?
Good mashing here. The aim assist in this game is terrible, and it will actively pull your lasers into things behind the thing you're aiming at. So, it's particularly noticeable in this level. Quick little death warp here. This only moves you up a little bit, but every time you respawn in a vehicle that has a boost, you're at full boost. So you actually gain a little bit more than a second's worth of time from scooting forward, combined with the fact that you have the boost. Even though you're watching the cutscene, it is faster to take that little death. It is not a large time save, but it's a completely free time save. And then here, I'm making sure that I grab the correct leg on each of these walkers, because that's going to determine where I respawn after the cutscene completes. So I grab a specific leg in a specific direction each time, and on all the levels that involve these walkers, which in just an any percent run is just this in Cofless. But if you ever wanted to optimize that sort of movement, that's how you do it. There's 3 good walkers right there. And after this, all we really need to worry about is the bomber section. The bombers actually end up being something that's a make or break for most of the runs in terms of if you have a particularly good time or not. Gotta go grab the X-Wing. Technically, you don't have to get the X-Wing, but it is so slow to have to wait for all the bombers to get here and stay in the speeder. If you wanted to do that as like a challenge run or to impress a friend or something, I suppose you could, but man, is it miserable to have to wait for that to happen. Yeah, about 2 seconds here. That'll be in range.
Awaiting your orders.
Decent Hawk.
Great job, Rogue Group. Now
Always impressed with how seamless the cutscenes are into this game without heavy load times. It is pretty good, pretty efficient. I mean, there's a lot that impresses me about this game, considering that it was a launch title for the GameCube. You really don't expect it to be that good, and it ended up being really good. Maw is an interesting level.
Find anything in this rock pile?
It's actually one of the levels that
Cut the chatter.
genuinely incorporates some amount of randomness, and you're looking at it. It's this field of rocks. The rocks are random. They're random spawn positions, they're random movement. So, that's not that big of a deal casually, but I actually do care, because I'm trying to death warp. I'll be death warping twice in this level. And I am trying to decide
Rogue leader, I'm getting a strange
which
sensor
rock I want to
reading.
crash into.
Might
I
be
just got to
Imperial.
make sure that I get
Stay
far
alert,
enough
watch out for
along.
fighter patrols. Copy, Rogue leader. Standing by.
And this is actually a pretty bad pattern, I'm not going to lie. This will actually save a little bit of time. Not great. Save a few seconds. It's not an ideal death warp, but it's a pretty darn good death warp. So, we're good with that. In the meantime, it's definitely something that's akin to an auto-scroller. There's not a lot that I can do. It's a shame that the level that gives you such a large distance to fly is also the one that is in the slowest vehicle. Which is, you know, a little bit unfortunate, but that's how it goes. I'm mildly concerned right now because I'm getting hit a lot. But looks like we're in the clear. Yeah, if I die again here, then I won't be able to do my other death warp, and sometimes you get a rock that just comes out of nowhere and blows you up, and that's unfortunate, but... So I'm gonna actually line myself up on the radar to make sure that I can hit this one as soon as possible. 7 blips in from that red. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All the levels that take place in space, you get a grid. That grid is really useful on your radar to make sure that you are spacing everything out properly,
did you manage to get through?
and
We're on our way to the facility.
navigating as efficiently as you possibly can. Because, you know, it's a speed run. ISON might not have looked like it was a speed run, but, you know, it was technically a speed run.
Guarding the prison building. If you take out those guard towers, we can help you.
Strategy from a
Wedge,
couple
we're
years ago.
transmitting targeting
It's
information
a little
to
bit more of a precise route to fly around this one.
By.
This is tricky, but I'm going to do my best.
Rogue Squadron! We need help!
Hurry up and destroy those guard towers.
Oops.
2 more to go. 1 more to go.
We freed
A little
the
messy, but
prisoners.
made it work.
Oh, Captain Antilles, we're so glad that you're here. We need access to weapons.
We need you to destroy the guard towers around the weapons storage building. Wedge, we're transmitting targeting information to you.
1 more to go.
And here's our second death warp. We're going to crash into a specific spot in this hill, and that's going to do 2 things for us. It's going to scoot us forward in our objective, which is very important, but also, equally, if not more important, it's going to refill all of the bombs that we have, because I need the bombs in order to pull this up.
1 more to go.
Good. All the relays are destroyed.
You don't like the voice acting? I think the voice acting is perfect. It's just as cheesy as Star Wars dialogue should be.
Go after the fighters.
Go watch the original
Copy that,
trilogy
Rogue
and tell me
leader.
that
Head
that's
for the fighters.
the best line delivery you've ever heard. So this part, I just need to not die. If I die now, that's very bad, because this is a very long level, and I've already used up my 2 spare lives. But old Star Wars was more fun. Definitely a very fun, less serious, a bit camp. It's a good time. We love the alert culture.
One more to go.
All right, we're good. Now we're just hanging out. So, tell me, from all those watching here in chat, of the 3 Rogue Squadrons, which is your favorite, 1, 2, or 3? If you give a wrong answer, I'm going to interrogate you. If you give a correct answer, then I'll be in full support.
We're almost clear. Just hold them off a little longer.
I can't make you pick. It's true. I can't. But if you say 3, I'm going to give you a weird look. I love 1 and 2 for different reasons, but this is obviously my favorite. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing this right now. That's it, we're clear. Rogue Squadron 3, not including the running allowance segments. That's the thing.
Thanks for the help.
Let's get out of here.
Rogue Squadron 3 is great except for the running around the segments. Too bad the game is 40% running around segments. and there's the issue. Not really a point in doing much commentary on this level. Just watch. Just watch for a bit. All done well. This should not take very long.
Awaiting your orders, Wedge.
Rogue Leader, this is the frigate. We're under attack.
They're going after the frigate. We've got to protect the frigate at all costs. 1 down, 2 to go. Good job. Now let's take out the last one underneath. That's nothing for the shield generators. Now let's hit that command deck.
There's another instance of the auto-aim not being particularly helpful. But yeah, all done properly. It's about a 35-second level. I got trolled a little bit by the aim assist there, and, you know, that's how it goes. Alright, Cothless. This has been my project level for a while now, but this year I managed to find some really consistent strategies for it to help smooth things out. That being said, they're still hard. Like, this can still go wrong. Don't get let's be very clear about something. Consistent doesn't mean easy. If you do it correctly every time, then you're in business. But if you mess it up and you play badly, then bad things can absolutely still happen. So I'm going to do my best to not let that happen. But, you know, no guarantees. That's what happens when you're doing a no reset run. Space battles in Battlefront 2 had so much wasted potential. I agree. Battlefront 2 is a good game, though. I enjoyed it a lot.
Rogue Leader, we need support.
So I'm just cleaning up. Any of you familiar with Cothless will know that this is a multi-stage battle in which the first area is you have to defend the transport, but really we just need to make sure that we get ourselves as much of a head start as we can. It's pretty hard to have the transport die. You can't. It can. you can allow bad things to happen. But I'm just doing my best to clear out as much of the stuff that I want dead later as possible, all while getting rid of as many ties as I can. Fun fact, if you get rid of all the ties too fast, you actually lose time. It's a theme with this level, is that if you are too good, you lose time. And that's not a joke. There are multiple instances in this level where if you clear enemies too fast, you will lose time. Why? Because the game does not like you. This game actively wants you to suffer.
We can't get any closer without risking the transport. We've
But
got to land.
if you get rid of all of these things fast enough, all the lasers, that's to your benefit, because you can actually like full clear everything, and then you don't have to worry about it later. Getting rid of the big turbo lasers reduces lag a bit, and getting rid of the turrets on the surface of the vehicle help make other movements of enemies a little bit, and allies too, a little bit more consistent in the later stages of the game.
We're shutting down.
So, all good so far. This next section is obnoxious. Hang tight.
It's gonna take speeders to bring them down.
I have to get the legs in a specific order in a specific spot, or everything's ruined, so... let's see if I mess up. I mess up all the time. Alright, 1 for 1. It was a little bit slower than I wanted it to be, but if I go too fast, then it's much, much, much worse. The angle into that one is very, very tricky.
Check your fire.
You're fine. Alright, 2 for 2. And I didn't crash into his head, which is good. You can do that! You can crash into his head and die. I want you right now to imagine a way you could lose a run. I've done it, I promise. If you do those first two just like that, when you get to this one, his head will be up and you can just go underneath his chin and grab it. If you don't do that, he can control you for unbelievable amounts of time.
We're heading.
Alright, let's get rid of some of these ATPTs, and we'll go ahead and get a head start on the hole. There's actually a dark spot you can see on it, and that's the spot that you blow up. Bam, bam, bam. That's it. And it's actually on the radar. Most people don't know that. There's a red blip on your radar that represents that specific spot that you need to kill.
Shot, Rogue Leader. Imperial ground forces approaching. Retreat. You've done all you can.
I tell them to retreat. That seems to help. And that's as much as that we'll talk about. So now, we get to everyone's favorite part of the level, which is where I fly in circles. So, these guys. Our mission objective is to escort them all the way to the Star Destroyer. They like to slow down and get distracted, so we're going to do our best to not let that happen. One of the things that helps is keeping them on camera as much as you can. So, we're going to be doing some circles, and we're going to be hanging out. The more we can hang out, the better. You also notice that I left these turrets alive. That also seems to help. And I'm going to be doing these nice tight little patterns, making sure that, oh, we got a despawn? We got a despawn. Every now and again, you'll just have the last group of ATPTs not spawn in. You know, it's fine. It's fine. What are you going to do? Is that a problem? Not really. Is it good? Not really. It's just, sometimes that happens. The only downside, really, is that you can't send your wingmen after the TIE fighters because the ATPTs are still an objective, and it is nice to draw fire away from the troops. But, again, Our win condition is them getting to the objective. So we're just gonna do that. It's a mild time loss, but it is not a substantial one. The worst thing you can do in this level is mess up the walker kills. If you mess with the walker kills, you're screwed. Because you can lose a tremendous amount of time, and then it sets everything else off bad, and it's just... it's not great. This is like the de facto mid-game. After this, it all kind of like blends together as late game. So once you get to this point, it kind of feels like you're 2/3 of the way done with the game, even though you're not in terms of time, you know. Alright, that should be about it. Not the best run. It's probably like a, I don't know, 7:45. Oh, sorry, yeah, 7:35. The reactor's getting more unstable is like a good audio cue of like where you are. So you know from there. Anyway, heist. We got two versions of heist. We got night heist and day heist. We do it at night because the speeder is faster than the Y-wing. In order to do it at night, you need to set your GameCube clock to night. So before every run, you always check your GameCube clock to make sure it is night. And this one actually has a pretty fun little feature. You get 2 warnings, and then you get kicked out of the level. And so we're going to use those warnings as a damage boost, and we're going to cut a corner.
We gotta keep low.
Mr. Blonde, I have a new setup for a death warp. I think you'll like it. Crossing over this hill, if you look at the sky, there's like 2 stars that are stacked up on top of each other. Like right there. And then if you see those and you fly through this dip and you put this trench on your right,
More fighters. Can't let those pilots reach their fighters.
you got a pretty quick
Take them
death
out while
kill.
they're still on the ground. Incoming fighters. Here they come.
That was the new setup I worked on yesterday. I'm still refining it to get it to be like instantly dying, but it's more consistent and faster than the old one. It's not as fast as the YOLO one I've done where you go into the side of the thing, but I just, you know, make do what you can. Side Death Warp does not save that much time, but just like the one on Hoth, you're doing it in a vehicle that has a booster, which means that you're gaining a little bit of distance and as well as a little bit of speed because you can immediately boost as soon as you spawn back in. Fun fact, your radar is still broken because you cut the corner in that first section. Normally, if you were to do the level properly, you'd be able to see now. Alright, if I get shot here, I'll still beat the level, because for whatever reason, it's fixed to be a spiraling death animation, which still keeps you moving forward, which is pretty fun. Two minutes flat for a crappy little run. We like that. Bespin's another fun one, where we can do a little bit of manipulation to make the first phase a little bit quicker. Normally they would want you to go around and shoot all these balloons, but nah, we're not going to do that. We're just going to fly to the last one and shoot those.
Awaiting your orders, Wedge.
Help me take out those fighters. Copy that, boss.
There's a little bit of manipulation you can do to get the AI to follow you and crash and die, and then the game's like, oh, you did enough, that's fine. And then you can move on to the next phase. It requires some pretty precise flying, but that's about it. Well within our means. So you just gotta make sure that your lines into all these balloons are precise. Got a few visual cues and a few timing things that I do. Make sure that that happens. Back at the tarp, make sure that I'm here. Fly forward enough after I blow this one up. Duck underneath here. Slide around. Shoot at these. Oh. I know what I messed up. Lost some time. That's unfortunate.
Excellent.
Just a few seconds lost, but it was my line into the second balloon. It wasn't, or the third balloon wasn't very nice. Anyway, I've got setups in order to see where all the generators are going to be. I kind of want to just be able to fly around the map as smoothly as possible. So I'm looking at my map. I'm looking at the sky, and I know exactly when to turn so that I get a nice clean shot. And that's what smooths all this out.
The Imperials are firing on the gas containers.
It's not a great line for this last one, because unfortunately you're coming in from the wrong side of the trench. But it does work out fairly well. All said and done. I think I missed. That's alright.
The last generator is history.
Now, here's the worst part of the level. You actually have to shoot things with the A-Wing. I don't know if you've ever tried to shoot stuff with the A-Wing. The A-Wing's not very good at shooting stuff. It is a notoriously bad vehicle for a lot of things. But mainly, its lasers are both weak and inaccurate, which is not a good combination. Usually you'd want either weak or accurate.
Awaiting your orders, Wedge.
They suck in all games. They do! It's just not good. The A-Wing is just not great. Okay, Endor. This is an obstacle level for a lot of casual play. Hopefully I can demonstrate some interesting proficiency here. So we'll start out by just flying backwards. When you fly backwards, it actually starts the next phase, I guess, of the level sooner by spawning everything in. And that's a good place to start, but we can do more. A lot of these ties are on rails and they just cruise around the map. A lot of the other ones are programmed to follow you no matter what. And when I say no matter what, I mean no matter what. Listen to that delicious crunching. That is all the ties flying into the ships, because they will not avoid them. They're following me, and that's all they care about. So all we need to do for this first segment is not die, because dying is slow. And I am going to fly around the big ships I cannot stress this enough, very carefully. The hitboxes on these ships are gigantic and have absolutely no relationship to their models. If you are flying even vaguely near one of these things, you are really risking a lot. And so you gotta take a nice wide berth and make sure that we can, you know, not die. But then I'm gonna fly around and just get all these ties to blow themselves up, because I want as many of them out of the way as possible, because the more of them that are still flying around, the greater the likelihood is that one of them crashes into me and I die. And again, I don't want to do that. Now, normally you would think, well, why not? Is dying actually that slow if this is like an auto-scroller? And the answer is not for Phase 1, but it is for Phase 2. Because we're actually going to be doing a quick kill on the Star Destroyers, which does require me to expend a life for each one. So, we are going to be very careful to make sure that we can bring all 3 lives into Phase 2 in order to very easily and very quickly dispatch of those Star Destroyers. If I do die, I'll have to manually kill them, and that backup's like not that bad, but it's more hard work than I would like to put forth if I can, you know, avoid it. So I got an audio cue here. I'm just gonna let you watch this. Hopefully this works. One got away. I'm so mad. God, man. I'm upset.
One more to go.
Yeah. Alright, well that was almost a perfect one-cycle bombers. But you get the idea. Well. Okay, so the next thing is a respawn manipulation. Normally, you would blow up one of these, you blow up like the one on the left, and then you'd have to fly over to the one on the right. You can actually respawn on the left if you don't move off this path. And I don't know why. I don't know why. If you go further to the left, this doesn't work. Even though you're respawning on the left. Again, I don't know why. But anyway, so this is going to put us in at in front of the left one, and then we can fly and kill the left one. So this is a rather quick and breezy Endor. I did miss 2 of the bombers because they peeled away when I was flying, and that makes me sad, because that's my favorite trick in the game. But as you can see, with the correct setup, you can spawn in right behind them and just immediately start blasting. So, yes, for a long time I was able to do this. I found a setup for this, and then I completely forgot how to do it. Didn't do cockpit view, invalid. Well, I guess I'm just too good. Guess I don't need to use the cockpit view to line up. No, I very often will do cockpit view, but was not inspired at this particular moment. BMAC knows that I hate cockpit view for everything except for Razor. Razor I do cockpit view because it does, for whatever reason, slightly help the aim assist from screwing you over. The B-Wing lasers are a lie. I don't know other way to describe it other than the fact that where the lasers shoot and where the targeting reticle is on your screen have no relationship to each other. B-Wing lasers are not as weak and inaccurate as A-Wing lasers, but you can't see where you're shooting. It's kind of miserable. And if that level didn't burn you when you were playing this as a kid, this next one almost certainly did. So let me ruin your day again by showing you how easy Strike at the Core is. So normally you would be flying behind the Millennium Falcon, and it's a whole thing, and yada yada yada. So I'm just gonna keep Lando on the radar. He's that green blip at the south part of the radar, and that's it. That's it. Yeah, the game's only actually checking to see that he's still on the radar. So if you're falling behind trying to shoot stuff, then you'll fail the mission. And if you fly ahead, you'll fail the mission. As far as stuff needing to get killed, nah. You just don't have to do that. And you might think, oh, is it faster to, like, stay low on the ground and stay engaged and actually shoot? No, it's not. It's the same. So we're just chilling. And this is ahead of the last precise flying section, which is kind of like what I was talking about at the beginning of the run. And I really enjoyed that. I think it's fun to sort of bookend between the two. And I think the precise flying in this one is a little bit more interesting. One of the few spots in the game that actually lags is right here, which is funny. Boy, does it lag ever. So in this section, it's kind of interesting where you can't just pass up everything, because if you do, then you'll fail the mission, because something will shoot the Millennium Falcon. If you have, if you just lay back a ton, then you'll run into the issue of being able to get to the core, maybe not as soon as you otherwise would. So there's a balance between staying back enough to get the ties to fly in, but not so far back that you're missing out on opportunities to gain ground on Lando here. So I'm just kind of using a few landmarks in the core here to make sure that I'm always engaging them on straightaways. That ends up being the biggest thing, because trying to shoot them on curves sucks. So we'll just pass him. That was actually quite good. Not gonna lie. bit of an awkward turn, but we managed. Now, the music changes when you enter the core room, and I'm going to use that to set up a precise shot with my lasers in order to kill the core as fast as possible. And you might be thinking, but Dayman, why don't you just use your torpedoes? Torpedoes are so much faster. No, they're not. They're slower.
I'm already on my way out.
I think advanced torpedoes are, but nope. All you need to do is shoot it with one laser. And they fizzle out over time, so this is better. So I'm just listening for the trombone.
Wedge, follow me. We've got to escape before this thing blows.
And then this is not Star Fox 64. You don't have to wait. You can just pass them up. It's the same path every time. Thank God. That would stress me out if it were not the same path every time. The last thing I'll show off is you'll notice that you're only hearing my wings once. And that's because if you open your wings and then close your wings before they finish all the way opening up, then you actually only play the sound effect once, and you gain just enough of a turning radius increase that you can make all these turns, and you barely lose any speed at all. You don't have to do any sort of throttle adjustment. You're just opening your wings and closing your wings just enough. And I'm playing a little bit safe here, but you can make those even tighter than that before. You actually don't need to hear both sound effects on both of those. And that's it. That is Star Wars Rogue Squadron 2, Rogue Leader, any percent, standard ship, no upgrade. Thank you very much for having me. We'll go and stop the time there. It's a fun game. Check it out. I just recently, if you're interested in speedrunning this in any capacity, this past year made a video guide series where I go through each level and explain the strats that I use, and that might be beneficial even if you don't have any interest in speedrunning. Maybe give some insight on how the levels work, and maybe that'll be fun for just your own sake of playing through the game and getting some medals and all that fun things. So, thank you very much. Take care and enjoy the rest of the marathon. I had a great time.